Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Even though the sun is shining, it was snowing just a few minutes ago. Today I'm going to be working on my Austrian pine. The new growth for this year is extending into these candles, and today I'm going to be pinching them back. Here is a look at the Austrian pine. So there's several different stages of candles on this tree. Some of them are very long, like this one here. You can see it's extending. There's some that the needles, they're shorter and the needles are just starting to come out on the new shoots. It's starting to like expand outward with needles. There's some back budding in that is very short and it also has needles coming out. And then up top I have my sacrifice branches. And you can see the shoots are getting really long in those. Yeah, so there's various stages of needles. I generally try and pluck the candles, reducing them in length, just as the needles are starting to come out of the cylindrical candles. And I'll be doing various operations today. There's some branches like this one here, it's very skinny and the trunk is kind of skinny at this point, so I'm growing this longer and thicker. So I have some sacrifice branches growing on this branch, and they're also getting back buds on the branches. So once those back buds have extended and I'm happy with the thickness of that branch, then I'll just prune the ends off, replacing, getting the branch back more compact. So yeah, there'll be, depending on the branch and the location on the tree, I'll be doing various operations to the candles. Pinching some, leaving some, and the smaller ones I'll just leave alone. I'm going to begin the work on this branch here. So all the new shoots on this branch are quite a reasonable size. There's nothing really long and vigorous except for this one bud here. Now I left this one long because I'm developing back buds further down that branch. So this part of the branch draws sap out to the branch, increases the sap flow, and then once these shoots back here have come out, I can then prune this whole end off. So I don't really need to pinch this candle, but I can. It won't hurt. It'll still have strong sap flow coming to it. So I will in this case. I'll just prune it back. So I'll just grab the candle by the base and kind of break off the top like that. So that takes care of this branch here. Now let's go down to my lowest branch. Here is my lowest branch, and you can see again, most of the new shoots are quite a good size. There is one long one here that I could pinch the tip off, like that. And there's one longer one here that I could pinch back, like that. And that takes care of the lowest branch. On this branch, I also have some back budding happening, so eventually it'll be pruned back. But this one is extending really well, so I'm going to pinch all these candles. And I'll pinch them in about half, taking the ends off. This pinching operation should keep this branch at a more reasonable size so I don't get rapid extensions at all the tips. So I think everything else is good. These buds, they're not too bad a size. They're a little on the long side, but I'm not going to touch those ones. So now I'm rotating the tree around, and this is my branch where I had these sacrifice buds at the tips, and I'm not going to touch those. I'm just going to let those grow because these will be cut back anyway to back buds that'll form along the branches, or even maybe back to these back buds in here. There's a few candles here that I could pinch back. So I will. I'll just pinch these ones back. Just take the very tip off that one. I'm just going around the tree. There's a branch out the back here that I could do some pinching on. Like that. There's a long shoot here. I will pinch the top off that one. Everything else is looking good. And I think that's it. Not a whole lot of pinching. I'm just stepping back, having a look at the tree. There is maybe a candle here I could pinch. It's kind of long. And I think I missed this one. That can get pinched. This one, the tip can come off. I'll just rotate the tree around, make sure I've got everything. Yeah, so I'm leaving these ones along. That's got it. That's the pruning or the pinching for this spring. And the timing is quite critical on this operation. As I said, you want to do it just as the needles are starting to come out on the new growth. That's a lot of the work in pines, is just pinching them at the right time. And then these needles extend and gain energy over the summer. You might get some more back budding over the summer. And I'll be doing some more pruning to this tree later on as more of these back buds develop, but that'll come. So that's all the work on the Austrian pine for today. Here's a look at what I took off the Austrian pine today. So not very much, just a few candle tips. And you'll find with pines, the older they get, the more balanced your vigor will get on them. So your bottom branches will start to grow with the same strength as the upper branches. And someday these sacrifice branches will come off. My goal with them is to kind of thicken the trunk and get it more even, so it doesn't have, it goes from thick to thin, back to thick, thin, so it has a more even look to it. The sacrifice branches also take vigor away from the lower branches, so if you want to keep your lower branches more compact, it's always a good idea to grow a sacrifice branch. And even if you prune it off every 2 or 3 years, it does some good. It takes vigor to certain parts of the tree, and you can kind of keep your vigor down on some of your more developed branches. The next tree I'll be working on is from the plant room. It's my Pink Pixie Bougainvillea. I've been growing this tree from a small pencil-sized cutting that was perfectly straight, and I've been clipping and growing it over at least 25 years now, and it's turning into one of my favorite little trees. So today I'll be pruning it up. Here's a look at the tree. So I've been letting it grow over the entire winter, and when I brought it inside, it defoliated itself, and then it grew back in, and the shoots are getting quite long on it now, so it's time to prune it back, restore its shape, and get light to all those inner parts of the tree. I'm going to begin the pruning now, and I will start with some of these really long shoots. And I'll be using directional pruning, so I'm looking for leaves that are fanning outwards from the middle of the tree and pruning just above those. So when the new branches come in, they'll grow in a good direction. So I have a leaf down here and one here. I'll start a little high, so I'll prune it right here, like that. And I can always prune it back shorter later on, once I've stepped back and looked at the tree. This little branch shooting straight up here, I'll prune to some outward facing leaves, so right here. Taking the top off that branch. I've got a branch up here in the apex. So again, I'm looking for leaves, and I can take it right back to here. Taking the top off. There's a strong shoot here. I've got a little bit of branching in this area, but there's one back here that needs pruning, so I'll take it off right here. There's a shoot here that needs to come out this direction, so I'll prune it back to here. Taking the tip off there. There's a few dead leaves in here that I'll pick out. There's a shoot down here. That can get pruned back to here. Just taking the tip off. You notice there's a little bit of white fly on it, but not too much. There's a branch here. It can get taken right back to here. There's some more dead leaves. Yeah, it's quite windy out today. The cold weather's blowing in. It snowed again a little bit. Take the tip off that branch. I think this one's got to be taken back further to there. I have a strong shoot here. I can take it off right to here. These ones aren't very long yet, so I'll just leave those alone. There is one in here that can get pruned back, and that one may get pruned right off. It's a vertical shoot coming off of the branch. I think I'll take it right off. It's kind of shading out the good part of the branch. Now, I have a shoot coming off of this thick lower branch that's going straight up, and here's the top of it. So I don't want a branch growing vertically off that lower branch, so I'm going to remove that one entirely. So here I go. And there we go. So that's coming right out. Bit of debris in here I can clean out. Now I have a long shoot here. I'm just seeing where it's coming from. I'm not sure I want to keep that one. Let me have a look. This branch is fanning out nicely, and this one's kind of growing on the inside and vertical, and it's almost growing back in towards the tree, so I'm going to remove that one entirely also. So here I go. Taking that off. There's a branch here. I could prune the tip. So that's the tip off it. I think maybe I could prune this one back a little further to there. It's a little long. Now there's one growing up here. Just seeing where it's coming from. It's not too bad. I'm going to just shorten this one right back to here. That out. There's one at the back here. I could just prune the tip back maybe. Yeah. Just take the tip off. here. I think that's got the basic pruning done. I could take the tip off this branch. It's getting a little long. Yeah, I think that's got the basic pruning done. I'm going to step back and have a look at it now. Here's a look at the tree now. I'll just rotate it around again. Yeah, so I think all is looking good on it. I do want to clean up the moss at the base of the tree, kind of showing off the surface roots a little more. So I'll do that next. I'll come in with my tweezers and just start removing the moss around the base of the trunk. Just so it's not climbing up the trunk and spoiling the bark. And I may have to get out a toothbrush. I'm pulling out a few roots here. These were ficus roots that grew from the tree beside it in the plant room. And the roots grew up into this pot, so I had to kind of pull it away. So this tree is a good example of patience. I clip and grow bonsai over many, many years. And there's no big scars on the tree from pruning anymore. They've healed over, and yeah, so it's got quite a nice trunk on it. There's no dead, rotted sections on the trunk, which is common for bougainvilleas that are collected or reduced down from thicker trees, because they don't really heal over very well. It takes a long, long time. And big scars, the wood tends to rot away and you get like hollow trunks. So that's one thing I like about this tree, is that it's been carefully grown over many years and it's turning into a nice little tree. And it generally flowers every year. Looks awesome in flower. And it's thornless. These Pink Pixie Bougainvilleas are thornless, which makes it nice to work on. The leaves are small, flowers are small. So yeah, they're a good species for bonsai. If you ever see them in the stores, pick up one. You can get them really cheap, at least around here. And yeah, just develop it slowly over the years and you'll end up with something very nice in the future. But it does take patience. And the playlist for this tree is very, very long. I was just looking at it. I have a lot of videos on this tree over the years. So you can kind of follow its progression over at least the last 12 years. And I have a link to that playlist in the description below. I don't know how many people actually check out the playlists, but I find them really fascinating to go back and look at the tree, what it looked like years ago compared to what it looks like now. Yeah, it's like you can kind of fast forward time if you go through the playlists. And the playlists, they don't just show this tree, that you'll see some other trees mixed in the videos. So bougainvilleas, they're you can treat them as tropical trees, but they're really a temperate tree. They like a bit of a cool period in winter, where they kind of go dormant. And they don't grow much, they keep their leaves. Yeah, they like a bit of a rest period, and I think that helps them flower also. Without that cool period, they don't really flower as easily. So I've kind of got a ring of moss removed around the base of the tree, and I'm going to remove some from the front too, so your eye kind of is led into the base of the tree. I don't want moss obscuring the root base from the front. It'll grow back in this moss, but for now I will remove kind of a window at the front so you can look at the root base. Sort of invite you in to look at the tree. Okay, I'll just get my toothbrush now and just brush the trunk of the tree. Get some of that algae and moss off it. It's a little green, the trunk. Once the tree goes outside for the summer, I will scrub it down better, kind of cleaning it up. There's no point cleaning up too much now because it'll be going back into the plant room, and there's no sunlight hitting the trunk, and it won't kind of kill off the algae much. They'll just keep growing back on. Okay, I think that is cleaned up nicely. Now there is one little ficus root sticking here that I've got to remove. Like that. And I should clean the moss away from the lip of the pot. So I'll just come in with my little scissors and just prune the moss back, showing the lip of the pot. Which is always important to make it look nice and tidy. The pot is like a picture frame for your tree. And if you can't see it, it's just not as nice looking. It doesn't show off the pot very much either. Because bonsai is the tree and the pot. Bonsai is the art of display, making your trees look the best they can. I really like this pot with the tree. It's a nice color, nice size. I'm also just pruning the moss back a bit so it doesn't get too long. Keeps a nice thin layer of moss on your planting. One of the advantages of growing this over the years from a young tree is that you get this nice mature root flare. If this were an air layer, you wouldn't get this root flare at the base, and all the roots would be kind of thin and immature, and maybe wouldn't blend in with the tree as much. And you might also get the trunk, because it was an air layer, it might die off the inside of the trunk and you might get a hollow tree. So if you can, I think growing them from young is a better method for creating a small tree than air layering. If you have the time and patience, that's for sure. Okay, I'll clean up and we'll take a final look at the tree. And I'll also give it a good watering. Here I go with the water. So I'll give it a good soaking. Water the top of the tree too. This is a spa day for this tree. It's getting spoiled in the natural light. Getting a good watering, a cleanup. I'll clean the lip of my pot. Like that. Now, I was looking at the tree. There is one root that's not going very radial there. I think I'd better remove that. So, there we go. Yeah, I don't like this little root here, so I'm going to remove it. like that. Here's a close-up of the root base on my Pink Pixie Bougainvillea. Yeah, it's looking quite nice. I'm happy with it. Here is a final look at the tree. So here's the front of the tree, rotating around to the right-hand side, to the back of the tree, to the left-hand side, and back to the front. It's time now for today's updates. The first update for today is my bird's nest spruce. I repotted it this spring. All is looking good still so far. And I just wanted to show you all the back buds on the branches. Every branch has back buds on it. So in the future, if I want to shorten these branches, I can go back to these back buds. It gives you a lot of choice, which is nice to keep the tree compact into shape. Yeah, so it's growing really well. Thank goodness. It's always a little nervous repotting old trees, but if you don't do it, the trees suffer. So you've got to do it. Trust the process and take good care of it, and all should go well. And so far, everything's looking good on the bird's nest spruce. Here is my field maple forest that I planted this spring. So all these trees got root pruned and replanted in this pot, and they're all doing well. They all have green leaves on them. Some are struggling a little more than others. You can see some of the leaves aren't quite as healthy looking as the new growth on some of these other trees, but they're all surviving, and I think they'll do quite well. The root system will gain strength, and yeah, they should recover and grow. So I don't like to prune trees that have just been repotted. I like them to grow, gain vigor, grow the root system. But on this forest, the main tree is growing, and not just growing, but it's growing really, really well. The shoots are extending really long, and they're starting to block out some of the smaller trees around it. So I may have to prune this tree back, even though it was just repotted this year. Yeah, just to get light to all the trees and kind of keep it to shape. So that will be coming in the future. My Norway maple here is leafing out, and it looks quite beautiful. The leaves look really nice when they're small like this. Yeah, they're a beautiful shape and color. There's all kinds of buds coming out all over the tree, so it's definitely survived the repotting and doing really well, which is good to see. I think it'll have a strong year of growth. And this one, I can also maybe do some pruning. A lot of these shoots I left long with buds further down the branch, so I can prune back to them. There's a few shoots I left on it that I wasn't sure if they were alive or dead, and some of them have died off and can be pruned away. Yeah, so there'll be more work coming to this in the future. My chickapin oak here, a native oak, is leafing out really nicely. It's looking good. It's a bit of branch dieback on some of the tips, but all the branches seem to have survived. My little elm down here is looking good. It's leafing out really nicely. My blue ash here is leafing out nicely now. My silk tree mimosa here is leafing out nicely, and it's getting some back buds on it. The Arakawa maple is growing like a weed. The shoots are extending really, really long. So again, I repotted it this year, doing quite a root pruning on it, and it's recovered and growing like crazy. So that one I think will need pruning again. Well, yeah, I'll have to prune all these long shoots back to my true branches. So that'll be coming. I'll let it grow a little longer, gaining strength before I do that. My juniper, one of the first trees I repotted this year, is doing well. It's nice and green and looks healthy. Some of these branches kind of suffered here over the winter, but it looks like I'll be able to regrow some good branches in that area. My small leaf linden tree is leafing out really nicely. Yeah, it's doing well. The downy willow in here, it's starting to leaf out now. There's a few shoots that have died back, but most of it looks good. The Rose of Sharon, it's growing again. It got repotted fairly recently. It's looking good. Down here, the lemon cypress is still nice and green. Seems to be enjoying being repotted in the new pot and soil. Yeah, everything's doing quite well. My Osage orange forest down here is leafing out. Nice to see. My pomegranate from Zinn that I repotted this year, it's doing well. There's one branch here I wasn't sure if it was alive, and I'm not sure if it is still, but it's no problem. I have 2 branches in that area, so. But yeah, it's doing well. The larch forest is greening up really nicely. Yeah, and I've still got to do some pruning up top, thinning out some of these upper branches and shortening them a bit. Yeah, so that'll be coming also in the future. The wisteria over here, I repotted this spring. The 3rd root pruning and repotting in a row every year, and you can see it's growing really tall and mighty. So it definitely didn't mind that root pruning and repotting. I really root pruned a lot of these trees quite far back, and you know, leaving quite a small root system on them. And so far they've just all done really well. It makes me wonder, it is snowing out right now. It makes me wonder, you know, could I have pruned it back even further? Maybe not, but wow. They all are doing really well after the repotting. My bald cypress here is leafing out nicely. It is really kind of sleeting out right now. It's nice in the greenhouse here. I've got the heat on. What is it in here? It's 21 degrees Celsius, which is about, I'm guessing, 72 degrees Fahrenheit, somewhere around there. It's very comfortable, room temperature. My Douglas fir in here, I pruned it back quite hard, and it's got all kinds of new shoots coming out on that. It's looking good. No sign of growth on the giant sequoias yet. They're not really doing too much. I just pruned those recently. The VW Penjing, so far everything's good on that. My honey, or not my honey locust, my black locust, it's doing well. The tip died back a bit. My new leader is somewhere a little down further. I got some branch dieback on it. There's a branch there that just died off, or it hasn't leafed out yet. But it sprouted at the base of those branches, so I can start them over again. I got an elm leafing out there. The juniper is just going crazy. Thick growth, very coarse growth. You compare that growth, because it's in a giant pot, to the juniper over here, which is in a smaller pot, and you can see the difference in the foliage, how fine this is compared to the other one. Yeah, the Pyrenean oak is looking good. My black maple has leafed out nicely. Korean maple is doing well. Corkbark oak is doing well. My drawing a blank on the name, poplar trees. The second one is leafing out now, so all looks good on that. My mulberry is still doing well. The leaves aren't, you know, really vigorous yet, but I'm hoping it picks up over the year. My London plane trees here are all leafing out and looking good. Now they'll get a pruning eventually, but not yet. I've got to let that root system recover. Yeah, so everything in the greenhouse is looking really good. It's nice to see the greenhouse greening up. Outside here I have my cedars in this rubber boot tray with water in the bottom, kind of keeping the trees moist. So I'm going to try that this year. I think it'll work quite well. I did that with this tree last year. I had a pan of water under it, and you can see it's growing really, really well. Everything in the poly house is looking good. The elm is budding out, and that'll be coming into leaf soon. The buckthorn is beginning to leaf out. The cedars are greening up. The Scots pines are getting candles on them. I think this year on this, my witch's tree, I left all the moss around the roots. It's a root over rock. And on my little cedar spirit tree last year, I removed all the moss, exposing the roots. That looks really nice. I think I have plenty of roots there. So I may do the same to this tree soon. See what's going on with the root base and see how it's gripping the rock. I've got a clump, and I believe they're a privet. They were grown from seed, these. And I just threw them all in a pot, and it's really dense. So I don't know what I'll do with that. If it'll just become like an accent plant, or I'm not sure. My cherry tree is leafing out. My Siberian elms are leafing out nicely. My Emmer maple's leafing out. This Scots pine and Shanny's pot is getting candles on it. The apple tree is showing some signs of growth finally. It's starting to get buds popping out on it, which is good, and I'm hoping to repot this year. My northern bog forest, well, I got a lot of browning on it, but even though it's browning up, there's buds on some of the trees, so I'm hoping they survive. We will see. And the cedar forest is doing well. Uh-oh, it sounds like the zombie apocalypse is coming. Yeah, so I'm hoping, soon I can move all these trees outside. This might be the last cold spell we get. I don't know. I'll leave my Pink Pixie Bougainvillea out here in the greenhouse for the day, and then towards the evening I'll bring it back into the plant room, so it'll get a day of kind of natural light out here. And that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.